I don't know if there are human neck shapes. All right. God damn it, I did the thumb thing. I'm trying to do the Clark Kent when I adjust my glasses perfectly. It's just, yeah, sorry. Very smug. Hello and welcome to Safety Guitar. Today we're going to be taking a look at neck profiles. Whilst there are lots of different neck profiles, there are four main ones that most guitars have. You've got the V shape, the D shape, the C shape, and a U shape. There are also two other ones which are increasingly common, which are asymmetrical necks and endurenecks. So in this video, I'll talk a little bit about each of the neck shapes, and at the end of the video, I'll show you how to identify what neck shape you have on your guitar. I don't know if there are human neck shapes. U. So the U-shaped neck, which is also known as a baseball bat neck, is the chunkiest of all the necks. And it's called a U because it's got quite deep sides that then go into a curve and then, well, it's obviously symmetrical, so it's deep sides and then a curve, like a U, like a capital U. And they're quite hard to play for anyone with smaller hands, but if you are more comfortable with them, there is something very satisfying about them. Like you can get a big grip on something and really squeeze it, and it's great for playing chords. And I don't know if they're particularly great for lead playing, but I'm just not actually a big fan of the chunky necks. I played in Nashville, I played this Telecaster, and the guy who owned it was like 6'5" or something, and it literally was like someone had got a baseball bat and put some strings on it. And yeah, so the U-shaped neck, unless you've got massive hands, is probably one to avoid. But also, if you really like that vintage feel, they do feel quite vintage, and they're more wood is more good generally when it comes to guitars. So they do have this kind of strength and resonance to them. So my advice would be with a U-shaped neck, definitely try before you buy. It's very Marmite, which if you're in the UK, only people in the UK are going to get that. But Marmite is the spread, which is made of it's yeast extract, and the marketing campaign suggests you either love it or you hate it. You can not mind it. But in the UK, when you say something's Marmite, generally it means you either love it or you hate it. V. Now the V shape is another more vintage neck profile. My Telecaster I talked about in a previous video has got a soft V, and actually my one goes, it's a soft V that changes to a C as you go further up. So that's another thing to consider. There are guitars that have both profiles or have more than one profile, but that shifts as it moves up and down the neck. But a V profile is supposed to be very comfortable for holding chords for people who like to put their thumb around the top because it's straight, a bit like your thumb, I guess, although if you curve it, it's not straight. But that's the idea. It's meant to be quite comfortable holding chords up here. And then the reason it goes to a C is so that when you lower your thumb and go here, you've got more versatility. When you drop your wrist down, your fingers go out straight for playing lead like that. So this isn't a V, this one's got a C shape. But that's the idea of a C shape. It's supposed to be comfy up here, and then they generally all taper to a C as they go further up anyway. I really like V-shaped necks. I don't know why, but I don't know, they just feel cool. They just feel, I don't know, they feel vintagey and they feel good. It's not very helpful, it's not very technical. Here is my Telecaster, and I don't know if you can catch it in the light, but you might be able to just see that there's a V shape to this neck slightly, and then it goes to a C as you get further up. C. Now the C-shaped neck profile is by far the most common. It's what every Stratocaster has. Well, not every, that's absolute rubbish, but it's what most Strats have. It's what nearly all Les Pauls have. This Les Paul's got has it? Actually, this might be asymmetrical. I think this is slightly asymmetrical. We'll come to that later. But it's what most guitars have, especially most beginner guitars. It's very easy to play. It's not really a case of, no one will find a C shape difficult. It's just smooth, it's generally symmetrical, and they're easy to play. Totally standard, nothing special, nothing terrible. Most guitars have a C shape. What I should stress is that while C shapes are the most common, they do vary quite a lot in width and depth. So you really should go out and try a guitar to find out whether you're going to like the neck shape or not. It's very risky buying one online without trying it first. D. Now the D-shaped neck is also a pretty common neck nowadays. It's more associated with modern guitars, although modern isn't really. an appropriate term anymore, because you might describe Ibanez guitars, or Ibanez, however you pronounce it, as a modern guitar, but they're like 40 years old now or something, so they're pretty old. But this is my absolute heap of crap guitar, but that I love. And this, the reason I've got it is this one does have a D neck, and you might be able to see that it's quite flat, it's quite thin this way, and then sort of normal width that way. Now that is fairly representative of a D shape, so it goes curved, kind of straight, curved again, but not deep like a U. So a D shape is kind of like a flatter C shape or a very flat U shape. And the idea of this is that you can have, it's really great for lead playing, for soloing, for shredding, because your thumb can drop down on the back of the neck, and it's not on a curve, it's flat, it's planted. You squeeze between your thumb and your fingers, and you can do like your legato and your quick playing nice and easily with that. Asymmetrical. Now, I'm super smug about this because I can actually finally show you a guitar with a very clear example of a neck profile. So this is my custom-built Stonewolf guitar. The model is called, it's an Akara, and this has got an asymmetrical neck, and you can see that very clearly on this, because if you look at the, this is what's called a scarf joint here, where you take two pieces of wood and you cut them diagonally, and then you flip one over and stick them back together. But when Mike from Stonewolf Guitars made this, he put a little sliver of purple heart in so that we could see the scarf joint. But what this very clearly shows is that this is an asymmetrical neck. So it's deeper on this side by the low E string and shallower on the high E string. And this is a kind of increasingly common neck profile, because if you look at the shape of your hand, it's kind of an asymmetrical curve. So actually this fits really nicely. And obviously this one was specifically made to fit my hand. So this fits perfectly. It's just, very smug. It's going to be hard to not come across as incredibly smug. I love this guitar. This was like a life ambition to have a custom built guitar. But yeah, this is it's a thin neck, this one. So it's an asymmetrical, but width and depth wise, it's kind of like a D shape. So maybe you could call this an asymmetrical D shape. Like I said, they all kind of merge into each other, and there's a lot of variation. An asymmetrical neck will suit most players, but again, asymmetrical is just a shape. It doesn't really dictate how deep that is or how wide. This guitar's got a very wide fretboard. I think it's like 47, 48 millimeters, so it's really wide compared. It's almost like a classical guitar in that sense. So whilst this is quite flat, it's not going to be easy for everyone to play, but it is quite narrow or shallow. I'm not sure how to describe that. The final category of guitar neck is what's called the endureneck or endureneck. I think it's endureneck by Strandberg, and I don't have a Strandberg, so best I can do is show you a picture on this screen. And that's very interesting. The endureneck it's kind of like it's hard to describe. It's like a curved neck, like all necks, but it's got a flat section, and that flat section starts on the low E string side of the neck, at the top of the neck, and then as you go down, it goes down to the lower strings. Now the idea of that is that when you're playing chords at the top, your thumb can rest in a comfortable position. No one plays like this. Your thumb can rest in a comfortable position, but then when you go higher up and your wrist comes down, your thumb will follow that flat path on the back of the neck. And whilst I don't own a Strandberg, one of my best friends just bought one recently, and he says it's a guitar for life. It's the most comfortable guitar he's ever had. And I am intensely jealous, intensely jealous. I don't need one, but I do want one. That's me, that's life, isn't it? That's being a guitarist. I don't need one, but I do want one. I think every guitarist has said that at some point. So what shape is my neck? Obviously I'm referring to your guitar's neck. But if you're not sure what shape your guitar's neck is, one thing you can do is grab either a piece of string, a shoelace, or if you've got one like a patch cable, and then you just grab your guitar, and if you wrap your lead wire guitar string, whatever is around that, and then you get it flat to the neck, this one's resisting a bit, and you look down the neck, you get a much clearer idea of what shape neck you've got. You can see it much more clearly. I'll try and get some B-roll of the different examples I've got here. Well, that's as much as I can endure talking about guitar necks. It's not wildly interesting. I'll be amazed if any of you have made it this far. What do you think? What are your favorite neck profiles and why? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. I've been JT and I'll see you next time. Take care.